Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
'Tis the season for shopping and hopefully scoring some great deals while you're at it. Which is great because with Rakuten, it's also the season for stacking up the savings. Use Rakuten to stack cash back on top of holiday sales at thousands of stores like Levi's, Best Buy, and Sephora. That's right, that's savings on top of savings. With Rakuten, you can save money on gifts for everyone on your list, from toys for the little one to kitchen gear for the hostess with the mostest, to electronics for yourself. Shopping with Rakuten means you get to spend more time locating the perfect gift and less time trying promo codes that don't work. And did I mention that Rakuten is super easy to use? Just start your shopping at Rakuten.com or in the Rakuten app. Feel free to browse and shop just like you normally would, and then you get cash back by PayPal or check. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free at Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten.com.
Mothers know all about life's tricky transitions. Thankfully, Ollie helps you prioritize wellness through every age, life stage, or magnificent mood change. Need a multitasking multivitamin that keeps up with you? How about an essential prenatal for you and baby? Ollie's got you through it all. Life's tricky. Your wellness routine shouldn't be. Get what you need at ollie.com.
Welcome to a brand new episode of But Am I Wrong? The show where you write in to ask if you're wrong in a situation. We share moments in our lives that we may have been wrong about or just rant. And then we nominate somebody in the public sphere.
Mm-hmm. The sphere.
The sphere. Did you see the sphere in Vegas when the Harris Waltz campaign took it over?
No, I can never tell what's real and what's not with this sphere.
It's real.
Like,
it came from
memified
them.
it. Oh, okay. Because
when it
also
comes from their
memified
account. Yeah, it's not a memified. It was.
Oh,
it
I love that
happened.
then.
Yes.
Anyways, welcome. We have all these segments. Melissa talked about it, but our first segment, and actually, before we get into that, the most important part is we want you to participate. So we put up votes. Let's not talk about the fact that they didn't go up yet. They'll be up by the time you're hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
We put up votes on our Instagram story, so you can vote who you think was wrong and who you agree with and all that stuff. And then we read those results, and we also ask that you write in messages of like why you voted the way you did, your thoughts, your feelings, and we want to just share those opinions, and we read all of those out loud and discuss on our See You Next Tuesday episode, which comes out on Tuesday. So the best way to stay up to date is, listen to the episode. And I do my very best when I post the votes to phrase it in a way that you'll know what we're talking about and using the image as context clues. So you're like, let me double check. Let me remember what this meant. And make sure you're following on Instagram because there's no consistency of when those get posted. So you just got to keep checking and see when the highlights are there and vote. First up, we have What Am I Wrong? Where we propose a hot take, a lukewarm take, something we might have done in our lives that we won't know if we are in the wrong about. And I am first. And I have two, but I'm going to start with this other one because the other one's very evergreen. And my hot take is, let's stop fucking with the dead. If the dead want to fuck with us, they'll let us know.
Mm-hmm.
You're too horny for this. You're disgusting.
You know how I feel about ghosts. I don't know why you didn't even think that was on the table.
So I went to Paris a couple years ago and like,
oh, did you?
Oh God, not that Paris. Not opposed, but I went to a different Paris. I went to the Paris, France,
city.
The city. And like when I was telling people that I was going, or even like people I was seeing there, they're, "Are you going to the catacombs?" And I was like, "What's that?" And I look it up and I go, underground graves. Here's the other thing I'll say. Fundamentally, as living, breathing, alive human beings, you know where we don't belong? Under fucking ground. No. Anything that says, like, oh, it's so safe, whatever. Recently in Colorado, there are people who do tours of mine shafts. I'm so sorry. I'm an Irish American. You think I'm willingly going to go in? My father worked in coal mines. You think I am going to go in there when most of the people he worked with didn't even survive? Someone who he was able to have children, like, that's fucking insane to me. That, like, this shit is so dangerous. People do cave diving, whatever this is. Like, oh, but, like, you know, the earth also has earthquakes. The earth is stop fucking with it. Stop fucking with the structural integrity of it. Like, that's fucking crazy to me. And so the combination of let's go underground. I don't even feel comfortable. I go, I'm so sorry. We're on top of graves and also hollow. I'm a little concerned, but by no means am I ever going under there. And they're like, oh yeah, people have parties under there. Like they they break all of the crazy. And this popped up for me because I saw the Mission Inn in Riverside, which I have been to. Like, that's what, like, they do, like, the orientation and stuff when you go to school in Riverside, because, like, it's like and I say this with just truth and facts in my heart, the only nice part. And so, like, you are a little bit bamboozled because if you take this, like, one specific drive, you're like, wow, this is beautiful. And if you go and the sun is down, it's not 114 degrees and just, like, dead, sprawling, so fucking hot and, like, just horrible. It's not that horrible. And you're like, wow, beautiful. So I've been there. We've also had, like, sorority things there. And they announced that they're opening up their catacombs for tours. And I said, I'm sorry, you have catacombs? I didn't want to know that. And now you want me to go, like, no. And again, of all places, I'm not going underground in Riverside to just, like, walk through people's grave. Like, I already think, like, sure, people who are, like, very interested in, like, going to, like, cemeteries or burial sites or, like, remembrance sites that are about, like, specific incidences where people are buried there and, like, to honor that. But just to walk through because, like, this is so cool. You're, like, walking through someone's house. Like, if they wanted us, they would make it abundantly clear. I don't think we need to go fucking around with them. And then also people litter in there. And I just think, I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? What is the market for people who want to fuck with the dead and also want to go underground to do so? To me, that's a death wish.
You're not wrong at all. No, thank you. As much as I want to be experienced by a ghost.
Well, they're seeking you out.
I want them to come to me, not me go to them and disrupt where they are because they're tied to where they are and there's a reason. There is also a city. I saw this on TikTok, but then I looked it up, but I don't remember where it was. I don't remember if it was Oregon or Washington, one of those places on top of us. There was a city that, like, was shops and things, and then they built on top of the new city on top of it. And the reason they built on top was because it kept flooding where it was. So, you know, like, there's bodies down there, but you can, like, go underground and see the stores and shops and everything. Like, the city is still intact underneath. And I'm just like, I don't want to go. There's a reason why you only stay at the top. And what if it rains?
Structurally unsound. If you mean to tell me I can take a tour of the underground, I don't feel like I'm on solid footing. I would actually like to go somewhere where it's not totally hollow. And, like, you might say, oh, that's just because you live in an earthquake country. No, New York just had an earthquake. You bitches should be more afraid of the earthquaking, breaking and separating. And then also something that I told Mats was his irrational fear until I did some research, and turns out it's completely rational and has been added to my list of my very plausible fears. Sinkholes. What do you mean? What do you mean we're just going to fuck around with this shit?
Sinkholes can just pop up out of nowhere. And suck down a whole house.
Yeah, you might not even know that there's, like, something like that underneath you. But to know that that's a Mission in Riverside, I could have gone my entire life not knowing that I had brunch on top of like, no. And that is not a tourist destination. Let them sleep. I can't stand it. That's fine.
I agree.
We We are so excited to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Thrive Cosmetics. Now, we are slowly but surely inching our way into fall in Los Angeles. And I mean inching.
So slowly.
So slowly.
Maybe millimetering. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think so, because when I look outside, I go, oh my God, look at all these brown, crispy leaves that have fallen to the ground and they're crunchy and I can prance around in them, except for not too long because it's still 85 degrees out.
Right.
You know, it's that. So I have to find other ways to get excited for fall, like my makeup. And for me, I have been keeping it very simple, especially on my off days when I'm not filming. And even if I am filming, I'm like dialing it back, doing something very simple like mascara and a lip tint, which is exactly what I'm wearing today. And you guys can't see me, but you should know I'm wearing the ad that we're talking about. So thank you, Thrive.
She looks good. And when we got on camera, I was like, what have you been doing today? Because I know we rarely leave our homes.
Yeah, and I didn't leave my home. I just happened to have a little fun at my makeup desk.
And Thrive inspired that. As y'all know, fall. Y'all know that I am a person that's like, we don't talk about fall until it's fall. And now is it officially fall? Then we can talk about it. And I can talk about how much I am looking forward to switching up my summer routine for makeup and moving into more autumn-inspired creations. And Thrive makes that possible.
Thrive Cosmetics beauty products are certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free, made with clean, skin-loving ingredients, high-performance and trademarked formulas, and uncompromising standards. And it's easy to see why their best sellers have thousands of 5-star reviews.
We were sent some beautiful shades, including their precision lipstick crayon that we received. The color is called Stephanie. It looks amazing on me. It is like a brownish red color. I'm not a technical person. Thrive they're the professionals. They provide it. I see it. I like it. I wear it. It's fantastic. They also have their liquid lash extension mascara. Not only does it last all day, it doesn't clump. There's no smudging. There's no flaking. You look like you're wearing lash extensions without having to go to the salon and getting them put on.
And it completely comes off so easily with water, which is something that, as someone who has been a till death do us part waterproof mascara kind of girl, usually I have to soak my eyelashes and my eyelids for about 5 minutes every night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I still look like a raccoon. And I'm like, and I got to do it again in the morning. So knowing that I can have that great long lash, voluminous and lengthened look, and then washing it off just as easy with water, it sounds like a dream. And it's got nourishing ingredients that help support longer, stronger, and healthier looking lashes over time. TBT to that time I was curling my lashes on your couch and they got stuck, and then I broke off half my lashes and I was like, oh, we can't actually talk about this. And you're like, it's fine, we'll pretend it never happened.
And I forgot it happened until right now.
I thought it happened again the other day. And that was pre-Thrive. So thank Thrive Cosmetics. Now I'm gonna be set. These lashes are not going anywhere.
Great. I love that. Not only does Thrive provide excellent products, Thrive also donates to 8 major causes, including those impacted by cancer, domestic abuse, and veteran and education organizations.
So brighten up your fall look with Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. And right now you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/blame. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/blame for 20% off your first order.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by National Geographic, presenting its new documentary film, Endurance. Follow the greatest survival story ever told, unpacking the legendary feat of polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton, who kept his crew alive for over a year, despite losing their ship in frigid pack ice. Over a century later, a team of modern-day explorers set out to find the sunken ship. Endurance, now streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
All right. This is coming out the day before Election Day.
Oh, God.
So, you okay?
Yep.
So, I just have reasons, a rant about voting and why you should do it. I'm just going to catch, some people that may be listening to this podcast and you may be new and you don't know how passionately we feel about this. And I just feel like it is my duty to share. So the reasons to vote. One, as I just mentioned, is also civic duty. This is something that every citizen of the United States that is in good standing with the United States, I guess, I don't know, I feel like anybody should be able to vote.
Mm-hmm.
It is important to remember that we are fortunate to be able to participate in a free democratic election. Voting is a privilege that not everybody has. And also, someone running, Trump, wants to change it so it's no longer something that we're able to participate in. I know we have a lot of listeners in this age group of 18 to 24. This particular age group has lagged behind other generations in voting rates, so your vote matters. The power that college students have is to shift this election, and we should not be ignoring that. This is also, according to a ton of polls, this is a close election, which I don't understand how, but it is a close election. Also, you're not just voting on presidents. You're voting on ballot propositions. Your vote affects the criminal justice system. We're electing the sheriffs, district attorneys, judges. All these people make the decisions, like how the police force is used, about body cams, about the officers and deputies that they're hiring, the kind of sentences that people get, or rehabilitation for other people. So, like, your vote directly impacts that. Housing and homelessness. When you vote for state and local officials, such as city council, county board, state senate, assembly, you're choosing the people who are making the decisions on how to address affordable housing and support the people who are unhoused in your community. Climate change. You choose elected officials at every level who set and review climate change policies and make decisions that impact us and the future of this planet. Reproductive rights. Your vote chooses state and national representatives who will make laws that impact your reproductive choices and freedom to access reproductive health care. Again, this is something that the Republicans are actively taking away. You're choosing your representatives at every stage of government, not those of us that have greater wealth or systematic advantages. Also, immigration is a big thing. And I'm not talking about like securing our borders. I'm talking about influencing immigration reform, including determining the future of policies like family reunification and political asylum. It also impacts our everyday life and families. This decides where your tax dollars goes. You're also fighting against racism and discrimination. You're fighting against people that don't believe in trans rights and gay rights. We're here to protect our rights as voters. There's also a lot of states that are enacting, this is actively happening with gerrymandering, where they're allowing for basically racism to happen in states like Georgia should be a blue state. Texas should be a blue state. But they redraw district lines. So then they're making it so that Republicans have a more fair advantage in that way. So I want everybody listening to vote like your ancestors are breathing down your fucking neck. The majority of our audience are women. We also have a lot of people part of the queer community. We have a lot of people of color. Like, we need to be protecting ourselves as a community. So get out there and vote, and also be educated on the things that aren't just president and vice president. Also, I keep seeing this rhetoric that you're like canceling out your husband or boyfriend's vote because they don't know who you're voting for when you get into the booth. And unless you are taking financial advice from Share 7, Sprinkle Sprinkle, and are using this man to run up your own bank account, divorce or break up with this man immediately. I don't think that this trend is funny. Like, I find no humor in it.
I hope a lot of them are just like joking, but I also don't think that it's like a funny thing to joke about.
I saw
like,
a serious ad about it.
I don't have an issue with the ads because a lot of women their husbands have told them that they will know who they vote for. And so they fearmonger them into not voting. And like, I saw a woman who voted for the first time in her life, and she's in her 80s because her husband died. And so that's beautiful. And I'm not opposed to the ads, but I think people who are like, oh, this is a funny trend for me to participate in. And if it's like not serious, I'm like, either it's a cry for help or like really insensitive to joke about, because like these are not healthy relationships in which these women are not allowed to vote.
Yep.
So.
And then I'm going to quote somebody that I probably will never quote again. Andrew Yang came out and said, yes, the chalk on your face.
I forgot about it.
You know, the Yang gang is still strong.
I don't know that's a lie. I don't think the Yang gang is still strong.
It is.
No,
he has a lot
first of all,
say.
the Yang gang is strong because it's me and Bo and Yang. It's not me and Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang, my cousin, is part of this.
Okay.
Anyway, Andrew Yang said, at the time, people were convinced that they knew why I had started a third party. Oh, Andrew Yang wants to run for president. Then and now, people are asking me to run just about every day. And of course, I want to make positive change with good policy, but I'm a math guy. And in 2021, I believe that if I were to run for president, I'd be more likely to do harm than good. I was convinced Donald Trump would be the Republican nominee. And because my supporters lean younger, I thought that if I were on the ballot in 2024, I'd increase the chances of Donald Trump winning, which is the opposite of what I wanted. But you should not vote for third-party presidential candidates this cycle if you live in a swing state. It might feel like you're voting your conscience or voting for something different. In reality, you'll be voting for a lesser version of the status quo. And that's something that we should all be striving to avoid. We deserve better. I don't think Donald Trump is the path to get there. Vote accordingly. I would like to show my shirt.
Yes.
It says, Madam President, if you're nasty, I've had it since Hillary ran, since she was called a nasty woman. But hopefully everybody gets out there and does their part and votes for Kamala Harris. And you vote down the ballot for things that align to make this world better. So get out and vote.
And I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm in a blue state. It's totally fine.
Mm-mm.
I think that I did not vote for Joe Biden in the primary. Like, I will say that I didn't. And
I didn't either.
And I still voted. I voted and I did not vote for him. And I did not abstain. I did and then also every time I was asked from polling stuff from the DNC, I responded to everything, told them exactly how I was feeling and doing all of that. And like, that is political advocacy for a presidential election when we're up against a fascist. Like, that's what that is. And the idea of like, I'm just seeing a lot of like, specifically, I want to state it's like white people. Like, if you're Palestinian and you're like, I cannot stomach voting for anyone this year, and you are not going on your platform and telling people who are not a part of your community, do not vote. That is, I will never be in a spot to tell you if you can stomach that or not. But when I see people who look like me being like, no, we have to let this implode. And it's like, we're not going to be touched in that way. That is such a coming from such a privileged statement to like, I saw someone on Reddit say it's people who think that they refuse to they refuse to pull the lever in the trolley problem. And they say that absolves them from it. Like, it's not what direction, what people do. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So therefore, like, just ask anybody who did not vote for Hillary Clinton if they felt morally superior afterwards. Like, ask anybody who felt like it just didn't happen. It didn't exist. And like, it's, again, the phrase cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like, it is just like, to me, I get really disappointed when I see white women doing this because like, as a group of white women, what we do is we make fun of white dudes for being fucking obsessed with the Joker and being obsessed with Heath Ledger as the Joker all the time. Like, I want to watch the world burn. And I'm like, you're doing that. Like, you are doing this like very like sinister, maniacal kind of, I want to watch the world implode and feel self-righteous and then hope it comes back together. And like, that is wildly dangerous. And it also harms everybody, even the people you are saying that you're trying to protect in this. This is not a time for you to take we took a stand and this is the first time we got a new fucking candidate. That does not fucking happen. Like, this was a win. So to just say like a big fuck you in the face, I like, cause I don't think Joe Biden would have won. Like, unfortunately, I don't. So and so like, we are given a second fucking opportunity and chance. And just to say fuck it to that is insane to me. And like, again, even if you're in a blue state and you're like, oh no, it's fine, my vote, whatever. You know, there's people burning ballot boxes and all of this stuff. Like, just, we cannot be so cocky and so comfortable. Our ancestors fought for our right to vote, and to throw that away, specifically, again, we have so many people who, I'm going to speak to the white people because I'm white. Like, we were the first of the women who were allowed to vote, and that wasn't that long ago. Like, and so to speak to Black people, like, there are still ancestors of ours that are alive today that were around when they could not vote. Yeah. And like you said, like, our ancestors, alive or dead, like, the way that they would have every right to fucking slap us across the face and be like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, it's the same thing I feel of people spouting anti-birth control propaganda, like all of these things. Like, we fought for this shit. And then to just throw it away and give it to a man who wants to take that away from us, and we have to fight for that again. It's far too important. And to claim that you care about people who will be even more harmed under Trump is like, yeah, it's shitty. But I've seen a lot of people who have like had an awakening about being like, literally had been campaigning for Jill Stein and then realized like it all came to click for them and they just voted for Kamala. And I'm like, oh, thank God. But yeah, it's like, it's really terrifying. And a lot of what you'll see is a lot of like Russian bots who are participating in this to make people be like, yeah, they're agreeing with me. They're on my side. I'm like, these aren't even real people. Nope. Like, and specifically Palestinians say like, please don't let him be president. Please vote for her. Please vote for what, like, and you have to put on your own mask before you can put on someone else's. And again, like, he objectively is exponentially worse outcomes for domestic and foreign policy. And if you don't vote for her, and I say this again, white people, if you do not vote for her, a third party vote is a vote for him. It is. You might not think it is morality. I promise you, if he wins, you will not feel morally superior. You will feel that guilt. So don't. Like, you're not going to avoid it. You won't feel guilty if she wins. You'll feel guilty if he does.
Yeah. And you should feel guilty. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into But Are You Wrong?
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
We are back. It's time for our next segment, which is But Are You Wrong?, where we read your emails, messages where you let us know a circumstance or situation you found yourself in that you would like to know if you are the hero or the villain. And we tell you. So, Melissa, why don't you tell them what the requirements are? Well, I pull it up.
For But Are You Wrong?, please send an email to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Keep it to 300 words or less. Include all parties. Please use fake names. And when you use those fake names, if you're going to use characters, please make sure it correlates to what your story, so we don't make assumptions about people that you don't mean to actually, give us hints to who they are. Also, please include pronouns if you'd like, and ages. Ages are required. Ready?
Yes. Okay. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I know I'm wrong, but I just need you to tell me and hear everyone else tell me I'm wrong. This is also very acceptable. Just let everyone know. Like, a lot of the time we know that you know, because you're writing to us or you're calling us, whatever that is. Like, if you've listened for a while, like, you know us. So this is also fine. I, 24, she, her, I dated this guy, 24, for 2 years, and we broke up a year ago. I haven't dated anyone in that time because I spend all my time working or with friends, and I live with my parents in a small town. Anyways, I found out who he's dating, and I used another Instagram account to look through her entire profile and stories. I don't want to date my ex, so I'm not jealous about that. I was just curious, and now I can't stop searching her profile. I know I'm wrong because it's definitely unhealthy. So I guess the question is, am I wrong for stalking my ex's new girlfriend's Instagram? I think yes. Hot take, it's not wrong unless it feels wrong. Like, because I think like sometimes like I stalk people that I'm like, oh, I haven't thought about this person in a while. But if you know that like how you feel about it afterwards is not good, then that is wrong to do. Like, I think being curious about who someone ended up with, like, I do have people like I didn't date at all. I'm like, oh, I'm curious about this. If you have feelings about it and you think about it and it becomes a part of your routine, might I suggest joining our Patreon? Might I suggest joining a book club? Like, routines are dangerous and diabolical. And once you get into the habit of something, and I say this as someone who has like a compulsive skin picking issue, like, once your brain starts to pay attention to those patterns and you don't have to think about like those kinds of things, or you're stressed, so you just pull your phone out and you start looking at this or whatever that is, or you just log onto Instagram and then the name is there. And so it's a part of your routine. You're used to it. That's what people watch. Like, stay watching shitty fucking shows. Stay listening to like racist fucking podcasts. That's why people are still fucking addicted to that. What are they called? The morning toast girls or whatever. Like, people just get obsessed with the routine of it. And so like you have to snap it out. It's like a Groundhog Day movie. You have to like, one day you don't look and you're like, oh, my life is a lot better. And then the next day you also don't look. And then finally, if you look again, you're like, oh wow, my day is worse. Direct correlation to that. But like, we talk about like, how can we like make a good habit of like taking my vitamins and like working out every day? We also need to talk about like how to break a bad habit. It's like, it takes a while to get into the habit of something. It takes a while to get out of the habit of something too. But if you don't feel bad about it, if she seems like cool and you'd like want to be friends with her, and she's like, what if seemingly she's public?
Yeah.
So like, does she have followers? Is she just interesting?
I think that the writer is more just interested who the boyfriend chose after her.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably comparing yourself. It's not about jealousy of being with him, but comparing yourself to her that makes it you feel like this is unhealthy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or like wondering like if I had did something different or if I had been more like her, then me and him might still be together. It's not a jealousy thing. It's just what if? What if? What about her is intriguing to him? Or it could also be about making yourself feel better. Be like, he was such a loser and look who he ended up with.
Mm-hmm.
There can be a myriad of reasons why you're doing this. My question is, did you make this Instagram account specifically to do this, or did you already have it created? It's already created. I have an Instagram account where I look at people all the time that I don't particularly like anymore, but I still want to know what's going on in their lives.
I miss when we shared the Finsta, and then when one of us wouldn't clear it, we'd be like, who are you looking at? And then we would start
it's
looking.
still on my phone.
And then it would go back up to the top, and you'd be like, wait, why'd you look at that? I got search it. I was curious who we were looking at.
Yeah, for me, I've moved on to, I just have my Finsta on my computer. So like, it's not as accessible as it was.
It's not a part of your routine. You have to go out of your way to do that. And it doesn't mean that like it changes how you use your social media on your phone in general.
Right.
Because that's what I find hard.
Yes. And I also have time limits on my phone too. And so I don't want to waste my time on my Finsta when I could be on actual Instagram.
Yeah.
I only have an hour a day for Instagram. So
I'm also curious if you're looking to date, because like if you have time to stalk Spurs on Instagram, like that's not, if you're looking to date, this is not getting you any closer to that. So like even downloading a dating app that like you might not be ready to like go on actual dates yet, but you like want to talk to someone. But for me, when I'm like in a bad habit of something that I know is not good for me, like an immediate redirection is hard because then I have to be creative, and then I have to use part of my brain. And if like it's a habit, I don't have to be creative. Like it's easy, and it's just like it's a super easy to slip back into that. But like coming up with projects and being like, oh, I'm going to knit a blanket, and so it's like, well, I have to get this much done, or I'm gonna read this many books this year, or whatever. Like something that you set a goal for yourself, or like a screen limit, where it's like exactly like if I'm doing this, it is detrimental to this other thing I'm trying to get done, not just like, oh, my psyche, because like unfortunately, we don't always think that far ahead and into that of being like, I'm now going to have to not meet this goal of this accomplishment that I'm going to do. It's like a very direct cause and effect is easier than like the slow generation. Is that the word? Of like your self-worth, you know, like that slow feeling like
degeneration.
Yeah. Degeneration of your self-worth. Like that, that's harder to track in that way.
Agree.
But also don't beat yourself up about this. Like everybody has done this and everybody's had to quit it too.
Yeah. Just don't, if you notice any obsessive things, that's when it's really a problem.
If you look, I think more than like when they just pop, like you're like, oh, I forgot about this. But if you've looked twice in a month, done, let alone twice in a week.
All right. Next one. Hey, Meghan and Melissa. I'm 25, they, them, and just moved into a new apartment. I absolutely love it, and it's perfect for me, my dream apartment. The only issue is that the hallway is super dirty and smells absolutely terrible. I've lived here for 2 months now, and not once has the property manager cleaned it. Like dirt, cat hair, and spider webs all over. Graphic. If you don't like weird, unknown things.
Oh, no.
Fast forward. Last week, there was a wet, unidentified substance that had dripped down a full flight of stairs and smelled completely vile. There are 5 other apartments that share this indoor hallway, and it seems like no one else cares, or at least I haven't heard anyone complain. I finally got fed up and began cleaning the hallway myself, which has made me feel better. However, the issue is the smell is definitely coming from someone's apartment, like a cat pee, never been cleaned litter box, musty kind of smell. It comes and goes, but man, is it bad. Would I be wrong to A, slip a note under the suspect's door saying they've got to get it together? What would be the kindest way of doing so? Or B, tell the property manager that something's got to change. Am I wrong for cleaning the hallway myself instead of saying something? I'm not sure what else there is to do in this situation. I know the property manager is supposed to be cleaning, but I know that they also may not have much they can do about the smell. At this point, it's somewhat embarrassing too, as anyone I have over to the apartment usually comments on how gross the hallway is and how bad it smells. I just can't live like this. Any thoughts would be appreciated. It is the landlord's job to keep all common areas clean. And if they are not doing this, then you need to either take legal action against the landlord, or actually this should be the first step, is to contact the Department of Housing wherever you live. Because if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, this is actually against the law. They can be fined by the city. And so you should be making a complaint.
Yeah. And notoriously in big cities, I don't know where you are, there's so many housing disputes and stuff that they're really backlogged. I think that you should do that and then immediately contact the Department of Health, because like that is something that is a much more pressing issue. Their turnaround time is much quicker. Same thing with, unfortunately, like endangered animals and stuff like that. Those kinds of things of like, there's tend to be a little bit more responsive than like if there's animal endangerment. Unfortunately, that becomes prioritized over CPS, is much more backlogged. So like there are times where like things can fall into multiple categories, and you check off all of those boxes because some will be more backlogged than others. Don't clean
anything. You should be taking, first of all, like that's so
dangerous
against your own health, but you should be taking pictures of everything and filing that with your reports.
Yeah, like even if you have like a respirator and you have like you've got full PPE gear and like all of that kind of stuff, if you don't know what the substances are and like what you're putting on them, like the chemical wise, like that's really bad. And I know you said this is your dream apartment. It's not your dream apartment because this is the hallway. Mm-hmm. So fundamentally, like you cannot make this work because it's not your job. So like if the property manager, if they do not get this together, you can get out of your lease. And like, I know that sucks to be like, I love this place. I don't want to move. I just want it to be fixed. If it was going to get fixed, it would have been fixed. It's not within your control. I'm extremely against sliding a note under a door to do this because they're both most common things would be that this is someone who is very old, someone who is disabled, someone who is not doing well, like mental health wise, someone who does not have the physical or mental capacity to clean at the level. It could have a hoarding problem, whatever that is. Like morally, totally, like not a moral issue. It is not unknown to them. Anyone who has like problems with cleanliness, and they might get used to this, but they know that there is a problem there. That's not something that like it's never occurred to them, and one neighbor saying something is going to fundamentally change that. It's just not going to happen. And then the much less likely scenario is this person is doing something incredibly unsafe in their apartment, and like now you've inserted yourself into that. I don't think that's likely at all, but a lot of people tend to like that rug lady on TikTok, like to prefer the true crime version of that. And if that's what will get you to not fucking say anything, then pretend your neighbor's fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, just, it is not, whatever it is not within your control. Whether they are old, whether it is like a choice that they're making, whether it's an inability to maintain and do something like that, none of those things you can do anything about. And saying something to them, you will not have been the first person. I think it's crazy that you haven't like met your neighbors who are also talking about this. I wonder how easy it was for you to get your apartment. Is this because this is an issue? It's not a brand new issue, but specifically for like an unidentified substance on the walls, like this can also be making you sick, let alone if you touch it or put chemicals on it or whatever that is. So like that needs to be of utmost importance. And like if that means pausing, like buying pictures to go in your picture frames and like hanging stuff in your like stop decorating your apartment and focus on this part of this, because you might have to move, and like that sucks. And I have been there. I moved my first apartment in LA, Park La Brea. If you're from LA, you have lived here, baby, it's almost everybody's first apartment. And I lived on like the 27th fucking floor in one of the giant towers, huge. And on the 27th floor, cockroaches everywhere. The fact that they were able to get there from the trash, which is in the basement, all the way up, it was horrible. And my hallway, which I think is a given, every apartment in Los Angeles, every indoor hallway smells like soup. And like, that's just like what it is. And like, it's usually because like your neighbors are making soup. And I had the most lovely, amazing, very kind neighbors. And they sprayed, the building sprayed for cockroaches in my apartment. I am not kidding. Every week I had to repack my stuff. I was living out of boxes for months because I had unpacked and had to repack because I would have to move shit because they would spray. And it got to the point where my neighbors, they just weren't taking out their trash. They were leaving food out and they were doing that kind of stuff. And like, they were going into their apartment, and I can't change how they live their life in their apartment. It does affect me in my apartment, and I had to move, and I had to break my lease, and I didn't have to pay. I didn't have to pay to break my lease. Like, I was able to like legally get out. And was it a hassle? Was it annoying? Yes. Would I have rather just stayed? Totally. But like, I talked with them like, oh my God, these cockroaches. And they'd be like, yeah, totally. And then I'm like, it's you. This is where it's coming from. You guys are not emptying your trash out. They were leaving trash in the hallway and not putting it right in the trash chute across from that. But you can't control that, as infuriating as it is. And saying something isn't going to change that. And to me, this is a far more extreme circumstance that, like, I think you're putting yourself in an incredibly awkward position that, like, I don't know who'd be receptive. I don't know who is living like this would be receptive to a note. Because, like, they're not well. Like, and that's like, a neighbor telling me that I'm not well, it wouldn't help me be well. No one wants to live like that, you know?
Yep. And you got to put yourself first. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into But Are They Wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
We are back. It's time for But Are They Wrong? And this is where we nominate a person, place, or thing found in the zeitgeist, current events, pop culture that we would like to say is the wrong of the week, the wrong of the month, whatever that is. And mine is a former contestant on Pilot Pete's season of The Bachelor. And if you watched, you already know who I'm about to say. If you are like, oh, I didn't watch The Bachelor, I'm totally unfamiliar with this girl, might I jog your memory with the viral audio?
Jesus is the only one that can satisfy.
And there we have Maddie Pruitt. She was just a bundle of bad vibes in dry, crunchy extensions when she was on the show. And I was viscerally uncomfortable with her the whole time. Was not a fan. And there's a sect of more conservative, specifically Christian older women who watch The Bachelor, middle America ones, who like loved her. They're like, oh, she is just darling. She's wonderful. She's amazing. She very clearly was there because the guy that was Bachelor, he was known for fucking Hannah Brown in the windmill 3 times. You signed up for his season? This man fucks. He lives with his parents and is like, yeah, I bring girls home. And his parents are like, hi, honey. How was your night? Like, he fucks. Like, he quite literally fucks. So her being on that season, to me, it was like a very abundantly clear, she's trying to parlay this into pastor-y, Christian influencer kind of thing. And her dad was, I think, assistant coach of Auburn, maybe, basketball or whatever. And she was also like, yeah, like sporty kind of girl. Like, I'm just like, whatever. All of this kind of thing. Like, it was very much painting a picture of a Friday Night Lights character. And she married a man named Grant Trout, who refers to himself as Trizzy Trout. Their videos are the craziest, cringiest things you've ever seen. They talk about how much they essentially hate each other. And, you know, they're married. He's a son of a bajillionaire. And she has gone just full Christian influencer pipeline. Like, she's doing the tiny Britney Spears microphones, talking with her hands on a TED Talk like stage, delivering these kind of speeches or whatever. And she posted on her Instagram story just something incredibly clear, so no one would really get it twisted, but what she stands for. And I'm going to share that.
Is this the same couple that were on that podcast? And it basically sounded like that they hated each other so much.
Yes, but that could also be someone else. But yeah, they like do not. And the way that they talk
on a podcast, and it was she basically said that she had to lower herself to start dating him and expect less of him. Okay.
Yes. And being like, when you're married, like, you know, and like, I wanted to say these things, and I just have to meet him where he, and like, she's like, there's an endless list of things I could talk about I don't like, about like, of these things that he does. And I'm like, oh my God, no one is holding a fucking gun at your, like, why did you even get together in the first place? Like, and he's also like, yeah, and then Maddie and I, our first date, like, pick her up, and here I am, DJ Trizzy Trout, and like, I pull up, and like, we're listening to Drake, and like, she loves Drake, and she's like, Hotline Bling. And it's painful to watch. And they have now, she's pivoted from just being like, just her talking about like Jesus. Also, I would like to say, if anyone watches me and you've been around in this like same influencer kind of space, notice who she hangs out with. And like, don't be like, oh, those people, everyone, they align. Okay. If she's hanging out with someone who you recognize, they align with their views. Okay. So I say that from personal experience. I will not elaborate, but trust me, they share the same views. So she is now pivoted to being, instead of like the single Christian, like, you know, find a good man who loves Jesus and all these things. She's now pivoted to wife, and I think she's having a baby. And now her and her husband they go on podcasts together. Like you said, they talk about these things or whatever. And like consistently since they've been married, she has just established that like, as a woman, we ask for too much, and we need to meet these poor idiot fucking men where they are. It's not even saying it like that, but like, and so to me, I'm thinking of anybody who has still continued to follow her through all of this, has been listening to her for the last over a year, tell them that they're the problem, that they need to serve these men in their, like, all of this kind of stuff, that like, if you have still listened to any of this stuff, I'm like, oh no, you've primed your audience exactly for this post that she made. So she posted on her Instagram story, and while we're on the topic, please, when you vote, focus on the policies and not the person. You are not choosing a spouse or a pastor. It's not a Valentine. The policies enforced will impact you and your children. This isn't about politics. This is biblical. Freedom of religion is at stake here, amongst a lot of other things, and mass media has made this election a superficial thing where we focus on the personality, gender, and character of a person. We should be looking at policies that will impact God's design for family, marriage, and children, and which candidate will promote God and bring this nation back to a nation under God. So not only does she not know what freedom of religion is whatsoever, I find specifically these kinds of white women, like, so wildly dangerous to be like, she is rich, she is successful, she has this influencer life where, like, she's basking in attention, which I would think in your very rigid view of Christianity is, like, not a great thing. But you have these people who had followed her for all of this, who've been listening to her for the last year, say, take your standards down for these men, because these men, like, you know, we have to serve them, we have to do all of these things for that. And then posting something like this, like, absolutely disgusting. She kept it up. Like, she had no issue with any of that kind of a thing. I just think that, like, paying attention to, like, who we make famous, and someone who is not there's a difference between a Christian and a Jesus freak. Someone who is a Jesus freak will make it someone who is a Christian will make it abundantly clear they are not a Jesus freak. There will be no questions in your head like, oh, do I think this person is a raging bigot and They will make it clear. You won't have to hope. You won't have to cross your fingers, and you won't have to guess. You won't even have to ask. They will tell you. So, like, if you align with someone from like a Christian religious standpoint, seeing someone else who also is like, oh my gosh, I love Jesus, I love God, and you go automatically good person, and then they have to fall from grace from that position because they've already earned that. No.
Also, if you are actually following what is laid out in Christianity, you want to help the poor, you want to uplift people, you do not discriminate. Like, the Jesus freaks give the rest of us a bad name.
Yeah. Mitch McConnell, not a Christian. Donald Trump, not a Christian. Clarence Thomas, not a Christian. They might say they're Christian. They're not.
No.
They're not.
But you know who is a Christian? Kamala Harris is a Christian. Joe Biden is a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama is a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. The absolute, like, frustration I feel for people who are voting against their own best interest is, like, driving me crazy. And, like, it's not related, but, like, I've been getting so annoyed about all of the advertisements against Prop 33 in California.
Mm-hmm.
And people are messaging me being like, I'm not going to vote for that. It's taking away rent control. And I go, I don't know why they're legally allowed to lie to you. They're just adding more rent control. They're not getting rid of what they're like. It's just more. And they're like, no, they're taking it away. It's because landlords want to make more. And I saw an advertisement that it was like Prop 33 is about greedy landlords wanting to make more money. Tiny fine print at the end, paid to you by the Association of Landlords. And I'm like,
yep.
You're directly fucking lying. And then I started getting things in the mail. So like what I see on TV is like, renters, be prepared. Like, you're a Los Angeles renter. But what I got in the mail today was, hey, recent Los Angeles homeowner, your prices of your home will devalue. And I was like, you're marketing this completely different. You're telling renters that their rent is going to go up. They're not going to have any more housing options. Every time they move, it's going to be exponentially higher. That they're going to have every month, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. And there's going to be zero inventory. And you're telling homeowners that you're going to have to charge market value and not make a profit when you're renting out your homes. And I was like,
which one is it?
But come on, like, tell me. And it's all paid for by the same fucking people. And it makes me so mad because, like, I also don't fault anybody who would have voted, like, no on that. Because, like, the advertisements, all of these kinds of things, it's like, yeah, that sounds totally right. Like, I think how we write them should be so... I don't think it should be allowed how they're written, specifically the advertisements for against, because you don't put a lot of money into passing something as much as because you've already put in so much money to get to that point. But, like, you don't... They don't put in as much money for the advertisements. It's all just the against part. And yeah, people voting against their own best interest is infuriating. And I just, fuck Maddie Pruitt. I can't stand that girl. And fuck everyone she's friends with too.
I'm along on the same lines. Again, tomorrow is election day. So all of this is very important to keep in mind. And mine is everyone putting on or attending the Trump rallies, aka the KKK rallies. Well, most recent to when we are recording this on October 31st, there was a rally that including disparaging comments against Puerto Rico. And this shithead, Tony Hinchcliffe, made a quote unquote joke, but jokes are meant to be funny, saying that it is a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean. He also went on the internet, online, on social media, really digging his heels in on that. Later in that same, I guess, stand-up act, I don't know, he said he pointed to somebody out in the audience, a black man, and was said something about the weird hat on his head. And then he was like, this is one of my black buddies, and talked about how they carved watermelons together. And then Trump said that it was his honor to be involved in all the controversies at Madison Square Garden where this rally took place. I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden. He was talking to the people at Mar-a-Lago and saying the love in that room, it was breathtaking. And you could have filled it many, many times with people that were unable to get in. And I just want to go over not even all, a few, because I can't go over all. It would be impossible. A few of the preposterous things that Trump has said. And he is my Rachel of the week, my wrong of the week, not even the week, of the century. And I hope that this is the last time that we talk about him. I also, we made a point pretty early on that we couldn't just keep talking about him every week.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this will be the final time. But he said that he would decimate public education. He wants to take $20 billion of existing federal dollars to fund private school voucher programs. He says that his $20 billion program would provide vouchers for 11 million students to attend schools of their choice. But the reality is it will mean that every dollar now spent on disadvantaged kids, English language learners, and students with special needs would be redirected out of the public education system. So if you do the math, his plan would harm 10 students for every one student that it covers. He had rooted for the Great Recession in 2006, and him and Musk have said, like, when he's elected, that basically there will be another recession, and it's just something that we would have to deal with. Trump said that I sort of hope real estate markets tank so he could take the opportunity to buy a cheap property and make a buck off men and women who just lost everything. He also doesn't respect women. I don't have to go into details with that because he has so many lawsuits that are pending on that and has also lost numerous ones as well.
Just a rapist.
He's a rapist. In 1992, he told the New York magazine, "You have to treat him like shit." And that's how he's always treated women in his life. He also peddles xenophobia and racism and doesn't discriminate with his discrimination. He's made plenty of xenophobic comments and hateful remarks about Muslims, Mexicans, Native Americans, African Americans, and Jews. And he also promotes white supremacy at any chance that he gets. And he's friends with and is a white nationalist. And his campaign chief is a white nationalist. He's threatened national security. I mean, we all know what happened on January 6th. He's also made friends and allies with people that in America we generally see as vile and our enemies, like Putin, Kim Jong-un, and he continues to praise Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. And I will put a link to the 100 worst things Trump has done since descending down that escalator. So, fuck him.
Yeah. I thought it was also so ironic to see the people in the audience laugh about the island of garbage. And I'm like, half of you are probably from Staten Island. That is quite literally an island built on trash. And like, it happens. Also, I don't know who told, like, he was not briefed in the fact that, like, there are a ton of people who are not born in Puerto Rico, the fucking Paul brothers, for example, who get residences in Puerto Rico for tax. And I was like, Puerto Rico's not like blue. Like, there are a lot of people who are from like the 50s, not the territories, who then are like some of the most conservative who moved to Puerto Rico. And I'm like, even them, I think you'd piss them off.
Right. Like, if it's such a trash place, then why are so many people moving there?
And also, why are so many of your conservative buddies moving? Like, if anything, you should be touting like Puerto Rico as this like tax evasion fucking mecca. And like, again, like the people who are moving to Puerto Rico from like the state who have no family, no ties there, they are the most conservative and the most rich. And I'm like, and even this would have pissed them off.
They are trash individuals.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's not like they're going to be like, yeah, laughing along with it. I go, you're even pissing them off with that. And like, that's so odd to me. It's not like you came in here and talked shit about California. Like, okay. Like, you pissed off people who are also voting for you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy.
I also saw somebody online was arguing, talking about that Puerto Rico, one, has nothing to do with this election. I was like, they vote just like we do. They are a territory. They are part of the United States, even though they're not an official state. And then two, saying like, well, they're not because they have their own governing bodies. I was like, every state has their own governing bodies.
That's terrifying.
Every state. What do you think your governor is?
That's fucking crazy.
Also, that also shows you didn't even watch when they do the roll call for everybody, because Puerto Rico is there just like everybody else.
And if you want to talk about how you're like, hey, I don't know that we should be staking claim in Puerto Rico. Maybe they do not want to be a part of the United States. Mm-hmm. We can have that convo.
Yep.
But to say that like they're not, like, that's That's fucking insane to me. I'm like, well, let me introduce you to a territory. Do you feel icky about it? We might feel icky about it for different reasons. For, it's just so fucking insane to me. Maybe those are the same people who don't think Hawaii is a part of the United States.
Probably the same people that don't think Guam is, that don't think the Samoa is, like those same people.
Wow.
I don't think Alaska is. I think there was also an argument talking about how it's not connected physically to the United States. And I was like, neither is Alaska or Hawaii.
Neither is Alcatraz. Neither is like any of
parts of California.
Catalina
parts are
Island
on the coast. Yeah.
Like neither are places that like we could get to 30 minutes on a fucking boat. What do you mean? Like and also in a couple years, Florida might not be. In a couple years, like other parts, like that's wild. There's all those islands in fucking Washington. I saw Becky Happersburg did a TikTok. She posted TikTok and on her Instagram Reels, and she had said that another creator had said it, so she wasn't claiming it was hers, but it was like not every Trump supporter is racist, but every racist is a Trump supporter. Like it is just that, and like so to look around and like
I'll say there are racists also that are Democrats.
Oh no, totally. Or maybe voting for or bigots. That might have not have been the word she used, but something along the lines of like you might say that like, oh, I don't identify as this, but everybody who's like, yeah, this is what they're doing, and you look around, the same thing, like KKK. You've got like neo-Nazis. You've got all of this, and it's like,
and all those groups have endorsed Trump.
Yeah, and so then to be like, well, I like him, but like it's just slightly different. Like it's just not. There is not room for nuance in that. And specifically for anyone who wants to say like, oh, well, foreign policy and the economy. And I go, cool. So for like business economics, all of these top people who said that she will be exponentially better for the economy, she has a plan, he does not. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the fact that his tax breaks are not for people within your income range? Like it's all these things that are like proven that he doesn't even work for that. So even if you want to say like, oh, well, not this parts, but these other parts, it's just like, it's not that. And like, what is your single issue of voting? And your idea, I saw someone else talk about Bryce Hall or whatever, who I guess is a Trump supporter. He's a TikToker. And his girlfriend is not from America. And someone's like, do you think someone needs to tell Bryce Hall that like when Trump will forcefully at gunpoint kick out all immigrants in this country, tell Bryce Hall he's also kicking out the ones with fat asses who are hot. Like it's not like, oh no, but like what like no. This idea that you have of what the opponent, the thing the boogeyman, the thing you're supposed to be afraid of, what that looks like you don't know. There are so many people within your daily life that you interact with that you might not know are on DECA. You might not know all of these other aspects and these things that directly affect you because you have just been lied to about this phantom idea of these fear things. And all that it is to get your vote. And then he's going to he would make all this money and you, the middle class and poor people would be fucking screwed.
All right.
So, well, get out and vote if you have not already.
Vote. Yeah, I'm a person that likes to vote in person on the day. So like I totally understand if you haven't voted yet. But yeah, get out and vote. Vote. Please go. Vote in your interest.
Yeah. And if you live in a place, I think honestly any place, but if you live in a place where it's tight or your vote really you're like things are a little bit more even and it's a little bit more of a toss up and you feel safer voting in person, go for that. Like even if it feels like a little bit more of a hassle, if you just also make sure you're clear where you put your ballots, like the gerrymandering, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the gerrymandering is like it's like I said, like I did a couple weeks ago, like sending things to like in the mail to like put your ballot in here and mail that back. Like there are all of these things that seem legit. Just double check everything. And if you don't feel safe at like the location where a ballot box is or doesn't feel secure, go find a different one. Like know that that's happening and then check in and make sure your vote was counted. So,
and also if you vote in person and you're in a place that sends out ballots automatically, like in California, make sure you take your early voting ballot to where you're voting and they will just properly discard it so that it doesn't get mixed up in trash and someone else votes on your behalf.
Yeah. In a lot of states you can do, I think most states, not most, but a lot of states you can still do like same day registration and vote. So it's not too late. And if you have a partner who is preventing that from happening, call a friend, text a friend, and come up with an excuse, all of those kinds of things. Let people help you. Like if someone said that to me, like trying to figure out I would help in a heartbeat. So just know that like your voice, like this is like we work, like our ancestors, everyone fought so hard for us to be able to vote. And I want to keep voting. I don't want this to be the last time I get to vote. And be careful of white leftists on TikTok telling you specific California props to vote or not vote for.
All right.
The end.
Have a great day, and we will
circle back. Took me a minute. Goodbye. This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Hey, are you interested in horror, but you don't have time to watch the movies? Check out Bloody Good Horror. We're keeping up with what's new, what's hot, we're covering the trends, and we're doing it from a place of love, but we're doing it with a critical eye.
We've seen it all, and it gives us a perspective that helps us when covering the genre.
We're also here for the horror curious, those who might not have the time to get to the theater every week, or if you're just too chicken to watch the blood fly.
Bloody Good Horror comes out every Friday, wherever you get podcasts, and we hope to see you there.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.